Well, you're not right now. That's the thing.
Okay, well, I'll just stop talking, I guess.
No. Go into your microphone and see what that says. I can't read any of that stuff.
Use format input volume of 50%. Using my Zoom H8 as an audio driver. This is when we do sound checks.
See, I can't read any of that, so I can't help.
Yeah.
Oh well. Friggin' Skype.
Well,
You might just have to monitor your thing. We'll tell you if it goes haywire.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, you were going to be 360, but when we had to skip a show, it changed you to 359.
Oh, okay. That's
now
because
you're
I saw.
going out again.
Yeah.
Why does it keep doing that?
I don't know.
That is. I don't have an answer.
You might have to restart Skype for that to take effect. You could try that.
I'm gonna
quick.
do that real
And
quick.
just
I'll be right
rejoin
back.
the call. Okay. What's up, everybody? Getting ready to do a
Hello.
little show here. Working out auto gain.
Good old Skype auto gain,
Good old computers trying to think it knows better than you do, you know?
right?
That's how it goes, right? Oh, yeah, I'm just going
It's
to
just-
auto-adjust everything so it sounds awful.
It's just the way baseball go.
There's no crying in baseball either, I hear.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That is a true story.
Yeah. So far, so good?
Okay. Yeah,
Fingers crossed.
we'll see.
Yeah, just throughout the show, if we hear something, we'll go, ah! It'll be like the word of the day. The
My
secret
voice
word.
is too powerful.
I love that
I'm gonna adjust my mic. Hold on.
John Haley came in and did first, on it.
Yeah.
And then once it started, it deleted it. It deleted his verse. Sorry, John Haley.
That's funny.
You're not first. Impulse was technically first. Gosh, I freaking... Okay.
My microphone
I wanna
stand is
go
not behaving
this
well.
way.
Hold on.
There we go. You gotta make
I
sure I
feel
get
so-
that. I make sure
so
I get that render logo in there. Hold on, where is it? There we go, right there.
Boom.
Yeah.
Product placement.
Mm-hmm. You know it.
Stupid mic stand. Come on.
Boy.
Isn't it awesome how like the first 20 minutes of sound check, everything was flawless, and the
Right.
second we go live, bam, 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 fire.
Fire, fire. Nightmare, nightmare.
Nightmare.
Now I lost my left channel in my headphones. That's not the end of the world, though. We can record without that. All right. How y'all feeling? You feeling good?
I feel good. I feel real good.
All right. All right. Everybody ready to do a show? Looks like we're
Yes,
live
I
on
am.
all the things. That's good.
Of course, I get 800 very important emails right as soon as the show starts.
That's how it goes, yo. That's how it goes.
Anyway,
Murphy's
It's
Law,
all right.
man.
We got an hour and a half. We'll be good. It's a short show.
I
you know.
mean, I'm not worried about it. It's just, it's one of those things where it will weigh on your mind.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Even though it's
totally.
not something that needs to be done right now. I could literally be fine waiting 3 hours before I send an email. It's just one of those things that's going to weigh on my mind.
Yeah, I mean, you get a Slack message during the show, and it's about changes, and then you're like, oh,
Yeah,
just thinking about
this
the
is
changes.
all website stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
panicked.
I
I'm
guess where your
panicked about
passion's
website
at.
stuff. Right.
I
It's-
get it.
No,
I get it.
it's not my passion. my passion is doing nothing.
That is a good passion.
Yeah, my passion is vacations and
TikTok.
Disney World. I like
Yeah.
Disney and Disneyland
I
and going on vacation
I like turtles.
and eating food. I
do
really
like
enjoy
food.
eating food.
I do like food.
Mm.
All right, you
I
want to do
started
a
a
show?
diet today. Yeah, let's do a show.
Should we do a show?
It's fine.
We can do this in the show if we want.
Sure, let's do this in the show.
Yeah. All right.
Welcome
here
to
we
the
go.
show, everyone.
All right, here it is. What's up, and welcome to another MoGraph MoCast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt, joining us today from Frame One, the new podcast. as well at, dude, I forgot your studio name.
Hyper focus.
Hyperfocus. I knew that.
right.
I knew that. I just
It's a
couldn't
super
remember the
ADHD
phrase.
thing.
That's right. Yeah, right. Our good friend, Mr. Drysen Carsten.
Woo!
And MoGraph is a supplement to our site, MoGraph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other MoGraph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects, plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. You
Or
can email
working
us
for the man.
info@mograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show. Questions, comments, concerns, queries, grievances, artist suggestions, show topic ideas. Hit us up on mograph.com and mograph.com/live if you want to check out info for the live shows. I got some future guests that I need to add to the roster later today, so you can see who's coming up on the big show. And
Really big
what else?
shoe.
YouTube.com/mograph. Check us out there. Some other things that we do. We got some classes. You can take classes. You can learn Houdini. You can learn Unreal Engine. You can learn Procreate. So check out our classes, mograph.com/classes. Check out mograph.com/TV. Turn it on, rip the knob off. You can watch us 24/7. Not just us, but our friends as well.
Others.
Like
Yes.
Chris Schmidt and Winbush and Jags. And pretty soon, Frame One Show will be on there as well. Adding you into the old podcast network.
Yep.
And you can turn it on. You can watch all day and learn about MoGraph all day. Even if you just turn it on, turn the volume down. You know, you don't have to hear our voices, but you might catch something cool. mograph.com/TV, or just go to our YouTube channel, mograph.com. I'm sorry, youtube.com/mograph. We got that name. That's right.
Yeah, we do.
And
Got to get that Twitter now. If we could just
Yeah.
get that Twitter.
Any other week wrap-up things? We talked about the Camp MoGraph announcement last week, right?
Camp MoGraph. Yeah, we're busy on Camp MoGraph. There's too much going on that I don't remember what we've talked about.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, what I will say is make sure and sign up for the newsletter, you know, because we'll probably send one of those out, or maybe two, you know, maybe one or two this year. You know, a couple this year, because we've got a lot of stuff that's coming up, you know, new website stuff, new, you know, tour announcements, and Camp MoGraph stuff. It's all going to be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and Clinton Jones is doing another contest as well. We need to get the info on that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Because there's going to be a Camp MoGraph ticket in that, I believe. Was there already I'm guessing there's already been an announcement. Endless
guess
Engines
so.
Challenge? That's interesting.
Okay.
We'll have to check that out. I have just been heads down working, so I am not in the know right now. Let's see. Anything else? We talked about classes and MoGraph TV and all the things. We are going to be touring this year.
Yes.
I don't have too much to say about that at this moment, but we are going to be traveling around.
Like mograph.com's traveling?
MoGraph and Maxon. Yep.
MoGraph
Oh,
and Maxon
nice.
are going
Doing
on
a
a
little thing. Yeah.
joint tour this year.
All right. Cool.
You know,
Cool.
and odds are we'll probably like right now tentatively we're starting out in Europe. So
Pretty much.
tentatively.
Pretty
You
much.
know?
If you guys need a grip, you know, give me a
Right?
call.
So there's that. And yeah, I think that's about it right now. That's about all we can talk about at the moment. Stay tuned for updates on that once we really lock things in.
Yeah.
There's not too much more to say other than what they've kind of hinted at already. But yes, let's talk about you, Drysen. First of all, before we get into your background and stuff, let's talk about Frame One Show. You were on when you were substituting for Matt one week a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Darlene was on, and
The wish.com version was awesome.
wish.com Matt.
I see it. I definitely see it.
And I think we played a little preview, but I think there's going to be another preview coming soon.
Yeah,
Something?
yeah, I hope so.
What's
I
that?
hope so.
What-
I hope
what's
so.
that? Is it?
So right now we have 3 episodes completed and wrapped up.
Okay.
So the first episode was actually Frame One as a whole was birthed from Camp MoGraph.
Yeah.
awesome conversation with Amanda Russell out there. Talked to Dave Swain, and then I was driving Nick Campbell back to the airport one day, and we had a conversation. And he goes, "Dude, you should start a podcast. That was awesome." I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." And so that's kind of how Frame One came to be. Amanda and Dave are awesome because they're like, we'll be your first people. We'll do whatever you need to do. Just like, we'll help promote and push it. And so I flew to Virginia. Nick Donlin and his wife drove down from New York to help film it.
Oh,
and
that's awesome. I didn't know
that
you
was
drove.
it was super cool. And during that filming of Frame One first episode, we dodged 1 hurricane, 3 tornadoes, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And
right.
being, I'm a South Dakota boy. We're kind of landlocked here. Hurricanes are not really my thing. But
you guys don't get tornadoes up there?
Oh yeah, we get lots of tornadoes.
I was
It's
gonna say you're in
I would
Tornado
take
Alley,
a tornado
right?
way over like a hurricane because I don't
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
to
yeah.
expect in a hurricane.
Yeah.
Even though it was like just.
I feel
rain.
like hurricanes are easier to deal with than tornadoes, though. Tornadoes, you don't get much warning.
Yeah, that's true.
It really was, but it's just the scariness of something new is all.
Yeah.
The hurricane's
But,
going to hit everything. The tornadoes, you just go outside and watch.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
expecting it to be like blowing winds and like huge swells and everything else, but it's just like, oh, it's raining outside. That's
Yeah.
That's not so bad. That's not so bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but anyway, that was the first episode. Episodes 2 and 3, because I really want Frame One to be an in-person thing. I think you
Right.
get a nice little more bit of body chemistry,
Sure.
some behind-the-scenes jokes, building relationships, all that other fun stuff. And because we're trying to increase numbers and viewership and everything else, I wanted to do them local here because, budgets are terrible
course.
things.
Yeah.
So we filmed a local photographer who's been speaking on national stages about branding and all that other fun stuff. And then episode 3 is a former studio owner who sold their studio last January, and kind of talking about how to grow a studio from a random idea, building a awesome culture for your people to work within, and then selling it on the back end. So
That's neat.
Nice.
kind of the whole wide gamut.
And you're going to come down, shoot some more in Texas, right? Pretty soon.
I am. I'm going to
Like
be
2
down
weeks?
there the week of the 20th. I'll be down there for the week. I'm hopefully trying to line up a second studio owner, a couple of freelancers, another full-time employed person, and hopefully, knock out 5 or 6 episodes while we're down there. That'd be awesome.
Jeez.
That'll be
All
nice.
right.
Have to do a little barbecue action.
I would love that. I'll bring the meat.
Yeah. Well, you are. You're bringing me some.
I am. My parents own a cattle farm in the middle of South Dakota, and I've been told repeatedly that the beef from my parents' farm is among the best in South Dakota. Humble brag, pop the collar.
Right.
I'm redoing the
Best
electrical
beef.
in my garage just so I can get this second refrigerator
Did
running.
you really redo your electrical?
I'm working on that to get
That's
another breaker.
hilarious.
Because we got so much stuff on this one particular breaker, and for some reason it's all wired to the front and the back as well. So in order for this other fridge to work, in order to put the 1/8 cow in there, I'm gonna have to get that all settled.
So what day? Yeah, we should talk, because I was talking about doing a MoGraph meetup, a Dallas MoGraph meetup, here in Rockwall. I found a really nice brewery, that would be a great little hangout, if you want to drive all the way out to Rockwall. But
And all our Dallas peeps, you're welcome to come to the barbecue.
yeah, over at Dave's house.
Yeah.
But here's my fear now: how does South Dakota beef compare to Texas beef?
I don't. I
I've
don't know.
I'll
I'll
We'll have
tell
to
you.
find out.
Iowa beef is really good. I did enjoy Iowa beef when I was there, but I bet you South Dakota beef is probably pretty good. It's probably up there.
All right. Well, we'll
vegans.
have to do an official taste test comparison.
Like meat
Yeah.
fight shirt on right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then while we're talking about Frame One, though, I really do have to mention my business partner Courtney, because she has been fantastic with help organize things, and she came up with all the branding for it and everything else. And I would be an idiot if I did not brag her up a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got
So-
friends working on it and everything, and
Yeah.
that's awesome. So Nick's coming too. Nick's coming to Texas too, right?
Yep. Nick's flying down, so we're gonna
Be
hang out
awesome.
and crash at Matt's house.
Yep.
There you go.
And rented a studio for
they're sharing
filming
a bed.
everything in. I'm okay with that. I used to live on the road as a roadie. I'm okay with that. I've slept in
There you
weird
go.
places.
Feet to face. Make sure you wash your
right.
feet. Make sure you
Ew,
wash
gross.
your face too. Yeah, so we'll be hearing more about that pretty soon. We're gonna put that on MoGraph TV. We'll put it up on the website and things. And then let's talk about you a little bit, because you know you were on as a guest host, but we really didn't dig too much into what you do, where you come from, all of that stuff. Tell us a little bit about how you ended up doing what you're doing today.
Yeah, I definitely fell into motion graphics. I think everyone has the same similar story.
Yeah.
Yeah. In South Dakota, where I'm at, like motion graphics really isn't a thing. And so in high school, I found an internship where I was filming a nature documentary. We travel around South Dakota, around the Midwest, just filming animals, and it was super, super cool. And I fell in love with cameras, cinematography, lighting, all that other fun stuff. So when it was time to go to college, I had a very specific, like 2-year, I wanted to be out working, because that's where the real experience comes into play. And I didn't want to go too far from home. I didn't want to lose that, in-state tuition cheapness.
Right, of course.
So I went to Southeast Technical Institute in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, but they didn't have a video production class. They had an animation technology class, which was brand new. I was the second class to graduate with that degree. And
Question:
I was like, well,
is that degree still around?
it is not. It has been rebranded.
I had a feeling that was probably the case.
It was rebranded as digital media production.
Okay.
But I was like, animation, video, they're kind of close. They both move on TV screens. It'll be this. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I took that class. I don't want to talk about that class too much, but anyway.
Yeah, I've got a degree in RTVF. Imagine that.
Right.
Yeah, radio, really? Okay.
Radio,
That's a switch there.
video, and
I
film.
thought, TV to animation, at least it's moving pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after graduation, started working for a local TV show, making basically an infomercial. Stepped up, started working on some regional stuff. Stepped up, started working on some national broadcast stuff. And the entire time, I'm just like, I'm so disappointed and frustrated, because I just want to work on motion graphics and animation. Like, I love that stuff. I'm bored by the fact, like, in animation, I can make anything happen. But in video, I'm stuck with what's real.
Right.
And so as time went on, I kept trying to introduce myself more and more to After Effects and animation and that kind of stuff. But all the companies around here, like, we don't need that. It's not important. And so one day I just kind of said, hey, all right, I'm going to go start freelancing and figure it out. And that was last September.
It will be important.
I am making it important.
Yeah.
How was the jump? From
The jump
'cause
was
I know,
scary.
I know. Yeah. I know it was. 'Cause I remember when you jumped off, and I was concerned for you. And how has it been since?
I will be the first to say that anyone that jumps into freelance without having a client list or a list of people to talk to built up is likely not going to make it. With that said, I was in a unique position where we had just sold our house and we had like $100,000 in the bank. And so I was like, all right, I can make it a few months. Like, we'll be okay.
A few months? Man, what kind of budgets are you on?
Right.
I can make it a month and a half on $100,000.
Yeah.
Hate to see our hourly rate.
Yeah, right.
How expensive is all that beef?
Man. Gotta launder the money somehow. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Anyway, the jump was super scary because after 3 months, I hadn't had any work come in. And it was a unique situation where a company I super respect, still love them today. I had a bad communication with the producer I was reaching out to, where she was kind of checked out. It sounded like wanted to move on to a new position, different company, as I'm putting the pieces together. And so I had like a 3-month hold of this company that never came to be. But that's why I was able to take this step, because I'm like, all right, I know for a fact I've got 3 months of work lined up. I'm going to go freelance starting next week. Didn't understand the hold system meant hold, not booked, and made the leap. So
And we
hate
could probably
the hold system.
Yeah.
I hate it. I think
and we
it's
could probably
so
talk
dumb.
about a little bit about like what you're learning in this, but because you're not new to business, you're not new
No,
to
this is
owning
my
your own
third
business. Yeah, yeah. Tell people about your first business.
yeah, absolutely. In high school, I had to do a senior project. Some people put a new engine in a car. Some people learn how to make a rug. I'm like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to start a business. And so I started a wedding entertainment company, just DJing events, params, weddings, you name it. And the first couple of years, it was just kind of, learning the equipment, the styles, everything like that. And then I decided it was going to be my full-time job. So what I was going to dedicate my entire life to was entertaining people and dancing and music and lights. It's going to be awesome. Grew the company to about 6 figures in sales annually, which was awesome considering it was a half-year job because summertime, weddings, wintertime, 4 foot of snow, not so much.
Yeah.
But I couldn't bring myself to step away from being the only person. I didn't like the idea of hiring employees because a live event, if something went wrong, I knew how to fix it. But to trust someone else to be able to do that, like I couldn't bring myself to trust someone like that, and that's a character flaw I'm still working on today. But the company started doing better and better, but I was kind of capped at where I could only work like 25 weekends a year. Got to the point where I kind of wanted my weekends back. Got to the point where I wasn't connecting with the brides that were getting married anymore. Like there was a transition period where they needed to dive into it or completely get out of it.
Right.
So I walked away, and my wife still runs the photography side of that business to this day, but I just kind of transitioned out of it. But the biggest thing I've learned from that career, besides how to run a business and do your taxes and sales and how to communicate and talk and present yourself to people, but the biggest thing I learned that translated to motion graphics was transitions, where you can set up a scene, but if it doesn't have a pacing, doesn't have a story, doesn't have all these little pieces that build to the overall event, it doesn't work. So yeah, transitions, they matter.
Remember how we were talking? Were we already on the show, or were we pre-show when we were talking about the Slack notifications that come in when you're in the middle of a show, and you're like, "Oh God, oh God!" I just got mine just now.
Yep.
That's-
And
Oh, no.
I saw it. Now you get to relax, right?
yeah, it actually sounds fairly comforting
Positive,
from what
yeah.
I see. So, whew, man, I'm telling you that I'm working on a couple projects right now, and this one in particular, all I can say about it is it's high profile, therefore high stress. You know what I mean? And when you're working on something that's like super high stress, and you really have to satisfy the client, you're always like, oh man, please tell me you like this round. Please tell me you like this round. You know what I mean? And so I have had some good news on it lately that that I'm doing the right thing. So I'm glad that that's there. So yeah, so I can continue the show comfortably, knowing that all is well. No fires to put out.
I had to completely close all my things, else my ADHD would be like, over here, over here,
Right,
over here,
right,
over here.
right.
I know. But yeah, so where were we? So you are not a stranger to running a business. So I guess my question is like, what new business things are you learning now that you're doing this? As far as like things you didn't have to deal with in the old business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest one is working with people. So Hyperfocus as a studio started basically the first of the year, and immediately I knew that I did not want to do this alone, and so I was looking for like, who's that right person that's going to complement my strengths and weaknesses, that we can tag team things together and grow something bigger than ourselves, and find someone who's willing to do that. It happened to be that there was a girl I worked at my previous job, and she was an incredible designer, to the point where a lot of her work that she's working on, you could just kind of like see like, you're being held back by where you're at here. And so her and I started talking a little bit, and the idea of starting Hyperfocus came up together, and being able to work on things where I'm like, okay, I'm going to relinquish control of this and trust someone else to run with it is like the scariest part. How do I let go of that control? And all the business books, all the audio podcasts, they always say find the right person that you can connect with, the right person that to fill those roles. And she 100% is fantastic, because all my strengths, like I'm like super like balls to the wall, let's get this thing done and do it tomorrow, and just not even look at the consequences. And she's very methodical, very slow, and just like, let's walk this step by step, make sure it's okay. I'm not detail oriented, I'm big picture. And she's like, no, we got to focus on the details. So the biggest business challenge I'm learning right now is just opening up what those resources are to those resources, and like just delegating it and communicating and collaborating. It's a learning curve.
Delegation is tough, and there's many reasons why. I mean, sometimes it's not really even a matter of like you were talking about not wanting to delegate things, because okay, if something breaks, I'm going to know how to do it, right?
Absolutely.
Like, here's an example. If for some reason I had to tend to an emergency today, and this project I'm working on needs to be attended to, I'm going to have to pass it off to somebody, And that's a hard thing to do when you know where the bones are buried, right? That's what my old boss used to say. I know where the bones are buried. If you, you have to be able to.
Which cube is the correct cube in
Right.
all the cubes that you didn't read, that you didn't name correctly.
Of course, in my
Remember
case,
now, I'm a 2D guy. We're talking about layers.
everything's named for me. Thank you very much. I'm not good at naming my materials, but you don't really need to name your materials as much as you do yours.
Oh, I'm terrible at naming my materials.
It's
Mat
octane
1, Mat 2,
material
Mat 3.
1, octane material 2. Yeah. Okay, so like if something like that happened, I mean, that would be an emergency situation. I know who I could basically pass it on to. But something that is complicated like that is hard to pass on to other people if you're purposely doing it, right? You're like, oh, I know this project or whatever. But the second thing that comes up when it comes to delegation isn't necessarily about you knowing where the bones are buried. It's about having money to pay somebody to do that thing, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you are running a studio, you've probably already gotten over the hurdle. If you are more than a contractor but not quite a studio, that's the gray area, right? Where you've got your handful of go-to subcontractors that you work with. If you get overflow, you know exactly who to talk to, depending on what kind of project it is. Okay, I know so-and-so would be good at this. This person knows particles. This person knows octane. This person knows redshift, right? You have to know which of those people to send it to. And sometimes if you get overflow, I know a lot of people probably have this problem. It's all or nothing with the work, right? It's like there's no work. Oh, and now 10 clients have come to me. So now I have to decide what is going to make me the most money. Okay, if I've got 10 projects and say 3 of them are kind of like small budget, 1 of them's medium budget, 1's large budget, okay, you're going to probably yourself tend to the large budget one, right? So then you got to pass off the lower budget ones. Then you got to figure out, okay, what is it going to take from a financial perspective? Are you going to make any money off of this? Yeah. Are you just going to pass this client on to someone else? Are they a long-standing client? They don't want to be passed on, so you're kind of being the medium.
You don't want to pass them on to someone else,
right? Right. Yeah. There's a lot of that to tend to, and it's like, am I going to even make any money off of this by passing this on? It's kind of a dilemma. So sometimes it is hard to delegate, and even when it comes to things like, doing your social media and things like that, that's very hard to delegate. Because you have to make sure that it's what you want it to be, what you want it to be. So you've got to kind of at least manage what's going out or see it before it goes out. And you might not have the money to do that. If you are starting up a company and you've got a month's worth of social media to schedule, who's going to do that if you don't have the budget? It's going to be you. You're going to be doing it at night. So yeah, delegation sucks. I have no answers.
It's super important too. There's a sweat equity of, okay, I have 100 things I can work on, but what's actually going to make me money? Is the social media going to make me money? Maybe, but it's not worth. There was a book I was told to read. I haven't read it yet, called $100 Jobs. But the premise of it is, if there are 50 things you have to do, which one would you be willing to pay someone $100 per hour? Which one would you pay someone $10 per hour? If it's the $100 per hour job, do it yourself. If it's not that, hire someone else to do it. Is the premise of the book.
Right.
And so I'm looking at the same thing going, okay, my strengths are the fact that I like to talk to people. I like to communicate. I like to find what the problem that they're trying to solve actually is. Is motion graphics even the thing that they need, or are they looking for something different?
Right.
Getting to the bottom of that. So that's a $100 job because I need that. Scheduling my social media posts or my marketing stuff, everything else, while that's important to kind of get the message out there, I wouldn't put that as a $100 per hour job. I'd pay somebody to do that because it's less impactful to the direct day-to-day sales. Animation, that's super important. If our stuff doesn't look good, design. If that doesn't look good, we're not going to step up to bigger, better clients. So those are $100 hour jobs. Those are what I either need to do myself or find someone who's better than what I am, which isn't hard.
Well, you've also got to be able to do those jobs where you're half working on it, right? Like maybe you're art directing it.
Yeah.
And then you have to manage your own time and the other person of, okay, what are our goals for today? What's our goals for tomorrow? When am I going to look at this and give feedback to the person that I'm subcontracting it out to so that I can then send it to the, so there's some projects where you're going to be involved either way. And then it's like, okay, how valuable is this really?
Absolutely. And I do think there's power in saying no or saying, hey, that's not a good fit for us right now. And not just blatantly telling the client, yeah, we're not doing that. But say, hey, I know someone who's better at that. It's going to be a better fit for you. Take a look at person XYZ over here, or company XYZ. They're going to be able to do that way better than what we will.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be honest about it,
Well, not even honest, but you're able to pass it off in a way that still makes you helpful. You're trying to solve their problem. You're not just saying, middle finger, get out of here. You're,
right,
being a benefit for them. So they looked out on that for favor. So when they have something that's more aligned, that door's not closed. Maybe they come back to you for the thing you're really specialized at.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some clients, too, that will throw something at you. And I'm lucky that most of my clients are pretty understanding. But they'll throw something at you and be like, realistically, what would this take to do this? And you've got to be like, look, I got to be honest. This is going to be rough. It's going to be hard to do. It's going to take a really long time. It's like, it's not that I don't want the work. I'll totally take it. I'll totally take this if you're willing to spend 5 days tracking something or whatever it is.
Right.
Do some crazy 3D track or something for 5 days. And it's understandable too, because like from a but from a video perspective, if somebody in a video world or something comes, they may not know the difference between what it takes to, 2D track something, in an hour, or have to 2.5D 3D track something which takes 5 days. But it's nice,
yeah, absolutely.
That you have to be truthful about it with the clients, even if you want the money. It's like, oh, that would be great. Let me know if you want to do this, but I got to be honest, it's going to take a long time. You want, and when it comes to like multiple jobs, and like I said, 10 jobs come in the door at one time. Saw it this morning, like totally got a lot of stuff going on, and somebody emailed me, hey, do you have time for this? And it's like,
and you're about to leave town.
I'm leaving town. I'm finishing up 2 other projects. But at the same time, it's like I could probably finish up the job over the weekend after I get back. I just have to, have somebody start the project or do half of it or whatever it is, because, again, it comes back to you kind of want to keep the client, you don't want to pass them off because, what if they forget about you?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest fears, I think, especially with passing off a client to, one of your friends or something like that. It's like, hey, this guy's really good. Oh no, he's better than me. They're going to use him from now on, or something like that.
And I've had that happen before.
Or he's cheaper,
Yeah.
Oh, they're getting the same thing for a cheaper rate,
right?
Yeah, and on the same note, there's a million clients out there too. Like, if I'm worried about every single one and losing their business, that means I'm not in a place financially or growth-wise that can afford to lose anybody, which means I'm already failed. you know.
But there are the staples that it's just like I've had people come to me before from friends, right? And then all of a sudden that person keeps hitting me up and I'm like, does my friend know that you keep hitting me up?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'll
Right.
actually mention it. I'm like, this client's been hitting me up like
A lot.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not stealing work from you, am I? Like just making sure. And usually it's been fine, but and I've had it the other way
Yeah.
too. I've had subcontractors hit me up and say, hey, so and so contacted me or whatever. So yeah, it's the kind of middle ground. What would you call it? Not studio, not contractor, just kind of
Person trying to figure it out.
yeah. It's
I mean,
a tough position.
It's very much a freelance life.
It
Yeah.
is, but when you're
it's-
trying to purposely like scale
Yeah.
up, that's
Yeah.
when it gets hard because you want to do that. You want to be able to subcontract. I mean, you're not going to make more money unless you do, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like
right.
you only have so many hours in a day. That's it.
Mhm.
So you have.
That's
to
the hard
scale
part too. Like this project, I just wrapped up. Actually, I was supposed to wrap it up last night. I received more revisions today, but it's for a national conference for a major paint supplier, and if I were to hire this out, like pass this on along to a freelancer, hire them to work on it, the ask of their time, not that it wouldn't be worth the money because the money was there to pay them, but I would have felt terrible asking to say, hey, you're going to be working on this till midnight. You're going to be working on this on Saturday, Sunday, every single
Right.
day. And it's weird that I respect everyone else's time more than what I respect
I
my own
know.
time. Like I can't
know.
ask someone else to do that. I don't know how to overcome that, but it's a weird lesson I learned this weekend.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I generally try to, I mean, I work a lot of weekends, but it's not because the client knows I'm working over the weekend, if that makes sense. If
Yeah.
I decide that there's nothing going on, I need to go work on this because it's going to help me out next week, I'll do that. But it is the understanding from most clients that I talk to. If they need something, like if it's Friday and they're like, can we have this on Monday morning? I'm like, it's going to cost more,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
sometimes I'll say, hey, no, if it's something I know we can wait until the next Monday to start, I'll be like, look, nobody here is ready to work over the weekend at this point. It's already Friday. Nobody is available, including myself. Everybody has stuff. We're just going to have to push it to Monday, and that's just how it's going to
Yeah.
have to be.
Those boundaries are hard, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. There's a lot of like putting your foot down that you have to do, and a lot of people are very scared to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, even with little things, even with that. I mean, the weekend thing is a good example, right?
The problem is, and I've noticed this, I had this new client find me, and it's like you give a little at first and then they expect that the entire time.
That's the big thing.
This
Yeah.
new client was like, hey, we've got this rush on this. Can you work this over the weekend? And I was like, I don't normally like to do that, but I can do that. And then every single project since has been working over the weekend.
Right.
It's like,
I think a lot
Okay.
of the problem that I'm having from this current project is that there wasn't a process in place. And I think it was Aaron Sorofsky that says people buy a process, not a product. Or they
I
buy
get
from a
that,
process. And had this particular one, like we put together the design boards, Courtney put them together. They look fantastic. Sent it over to the client. And they looked at them, I think, approved them, went to animation phase. Animation, they're like, all right, we're doing the final touches, like final animation, we're done. And then we came back and had to change all the design boards. And it's like, well, if we're going back to the design board, that's overages because you're breaking the process. Me learning how to say no to things like that, it didn't go quite the way I wanted it to. However, knowing that had we followed the process in place and actually like said, yes, no, this is what's going on, how it's going to flow, or make sure the client signs off in blood that these design boards are final, then it would have been fine. We would have had more pull and stuff. So I don't know, just there's fun business lessons to learn as far as how to sell a process.
Yeah, I do that a lot with contracts, right? Like, especially when a client is new And
Yeah.
there are situations and clients where it's a small enough project where I'm not going to do a whole contract for it. If it's an existing client who's just been around, like, we don't have to worry about that. We know what the expectations are. But when it's a new client, I definitely spend extra time when, like, first of all, sending a contract. Second of all, explaining the main points of the contract, because I know they're not going to read it.
Right.
You're going to get X amount of revisions. These are what they're going to be. And then when I email them, I say, hi, this is this revision number one. This is the wireframe. This is the 90% deliverable. Here's and then I'll send it, like, we won't talk about this is the final version, but they'll give me the feedback and I'll be like, okay, here's the final version of something. They're like, final version. It's like, yeah, that was the third one according to the contract.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the client has more changes. How much extra is that going to cost?
Right. And that's the thing. If you do it the first time, put your foot down. I mean, most people don't like it because they're like, oh, it makes me sound kind of like a stickler or a jerk. But you don't want to get walked all on top of.
Yeah.
You don't want people to think that next time you're going to do that. The same thing applies with things like discounts. And hopefully we're not rehashing too much, but I do realize a lot of people don't listen to every episode.
Yeah.
So one thing that oh shoot, I just lost it. What were we talking about?
Contracts and the process.
Yeah.
Not being stepped on, saying no.
Yeah.
I knew exactly where you were going.
I know discounts.
Discounts.
Yeah. With discounts, if someone says, hey, so my client came back and they only have this much budget, can you do it for this much? Okay. That's always kind of like,
The answer is yes, but what are we reducing?
Yes, that's the first thing. Okay, you want to do it for this budget, what can we take out? If it's something where it's like you know that you're not going to get this gig if you don't go with this budget. You just know. Say, okay, look, I can do it this time, but when you do the invoice, you blatantly put that discount on there as a line item.
Yep.
Not only next time when you quote them, they won't come back and say, well, last time you only charged me this much. Be like, yeah,
but last time the full invoice was this.
Right.
Yeah.
But that discount, this is not official advice, consult your CPA, in some situations can be a write-off. The discount can be a write-off.
Oh,
some situations.
see, I did not know that.
Yes.
I'll need to consult my CPA.
If you have that, because you have a spot, an account for labor, expenses, whatever, the discounts sometimes can fall under tax write-off. But consult your financial advisor.
All my projects are now $1 million with discounts.
Right.
I mean, that's Donald Trump did it.
Have y'all seen some of these TikToks where people are doing their taxes and they say, guys, I fucked up. And it says federal refund, $173,000.
I'm going to get audited.
They're writing off their entire house for some reason or something. Like, how do you even
purchase?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, it's tax time. It's tax time, isn't it?
If anybody's about that, I do recommend Profit First by Mike Wakanowitz. Great book for saving for taxes. Do recommend.
Nice.
But yeah, talk a little more about Frame One. We haven't really talked much about.
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
So the entire point of the show is to interview these leaders in the creative industry that are they've made it. They're successful. But when they started out, whether from leaving their full-time corporate job to starting a freelance business to starting their studio, I've always been curious as to what did that feel like for them? Were they immediately confident? Did they know it was going to work? Or was it, oh man, I don't know, we're going to give it a shot and see what happens. And so that's where the idea for Frame One came to be. And it's been fun so far because I'm really hoping that I can influence someone to either take the leap from full-time employment to self-employed, be that freelancing or through starting their own studio. But simultaneously, because I'm talking to these giants, so to speak, I'm learning these things that I don't know either. There's a knowledge gap that I've had. And so I'm really hoping that I can share that message with other people who are trying to grow and do their own thing too. So that's the goal. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam was asking about, are there examples of these contracts that up-and-comers can reference? By the way,
I think the biggest problem with that is like,
so there are.
Yeah, there are some, you know, and like it's also that thing where it's like, it's not financial advice, you know, here's an example of my contract, but you know, it could be wrong, you know, I could have been doing this, you know, as a lot of people who are doing contracts don't, especially freelancers, you know, don't necessarily hire a lawyer to check on all this stuff before, you know, they send out the contracts and stuff. So we're kind of, some of us are playing it by ear. You know, I know Haley Akins, yeah, with Motion Hatch had her contract bundle, but
is it not around anymore?
It's not.
It's not around
anymore because it was such a headache to have to update it all the time, and you know, especially in the U.S., getting U.S. lawyers to look at it all the time. You know,
beyond that, you know, South Dakota law is different from Texas law.
Absolutely,
how do you keep everything perfect.
Yeah.
So I do think that the best money that can be spent if you're especially working direct to client is hire a lawyer and talk with them.
Yeah.
You know, it might cost you $1,000 to have a contract like that drafted, but you have all your questions answered. You have everything figured out, laid out. Yeah. And from
it's not going to be $1,000. They're going to charge you. They're going to make you put down a $2,000
retainer.
Yeah.
You got ChatGPT.
And then they're not going to talk to you for like 6 months.
Yeah. No, ChatGPT can actually probably help you.
That's true.
In this situation,
That's true.
If you say,
and here's the thing.
I need this for Texas, you know, whatever.
What a contract does, you know, especially from what we were talking about earlier. How many times have you actually read the terms and conditions of anything that you have downloaded or something like that? You know, what a contract does is kind of like sets expectations.
Right.
You know, it especially for freelancers like us or small business owners, it sets expectations, you know, so someone can go through it and they can read it or not read it, you know, and it's just a way to, one, cover your ass in case, you know, they come back and say, oh, this and this and this, you know, and its ability to set your expectations. Even if you put in bullshit in there that doesn't even make sense and they sign it, you know,
if it's stuff that isn't legally binding.
Right, exactly, you know. It's like, oh, you sign it, I get your firstborn if you don't pay on time, or something like that. You know, it's not legally binding, but you know, at least it sets an expectation for what they should, you know, how to work and stuff like that.
I feel like the initial conversation when you're taking on a new project should basically be outlining your contract as a process as what you're expecting them. So when they sign the contract, all they're basically saying is, hey, this is all the stuff we talked about. So we're going to start by, you know, doing research. We're going to write a script. You're going to see the script. You're going to approve it, or you're going to have revisions for it. You'll have X amount of time for revisions on that. Then we'll jump into mood boards, kind of give you some options what it's going to look like. And then we're going to jump into, you know, you take a look at it. Do you like it? Do you hate it? We'll adjust it. We'll jump into storyboards and actually draw everything out with style frames or whatever we're going to show. And then here it is. Do you like it? Do you not? We're going to hop into an animatic. Just here's a storyboard, music, voiceover. Here's the timing of it. Do you like it or do you not? You know, through the whole process, animation, sound design, the works. And so that way, they've already experienced. They know what the process is. They know how much time to expect. They know all the details of what you're going to do for them, and that's all the contract basically reinforces. So there aren't any surprises like, well, you forgot that, you know, you didn't pay me by the 4th date, so therefore the 20,000, you know, whatever the surprises are, you outline that before the project even starts.
Well,
it's
and
just
that's
a conversation.
That's why you have to kind of put some of these expectations into an email and say, here's what's in the contract. Here's the main points you need to know. Because if not, they're not going to read it. Like, they're just not. And they're not going to, and then you're going to start talking about all these revision rounds and be like, wait, what? We have, and it's like, yeah, did you not read your contract? That happened to us a long time ago. There was something we were working on, and the client said, well, I only got X number of revision rounds. And you're like, yeah, you were supposed to have one less than that, and we gave you an extra one. Did you not read your contract? And so like the expectations that Sam's talking about here, the expectations, I've heard so many people say none of these contracts will hold up in court. It could go either person's favor. These things are so loose, especially in certain states like Texas. These things are so loose. None of this, even like NDAs won't hold up, So it really is just about, you got a first-time client. You're establishing yourself as a legit business. You're not, because a lot of the times is like, oh, you're just some kid working in your parents' basement. That's exactly what they're thinking. They're like, well, we're just going to ask you to do all this stuff. Me personally, I always say you get 3 rounds, not 3 revision rounds. It's 3 rounds. I might send you some stills from email or whatever. That doesn't count. But you're going to have an animatic. That might be a wireframe. That might be a low sample render. Whatever it is, that is your animatic. You're going to have a 90% deliverable. You're going to give me feedback, and then we're done. That's it.
And I'm going to give you an X amount of time to do that. Like, it's going to be 2 days built in, so you can review it and look at it. So I have a list of what to address versus on Tuesday, here's one. On Wednesday, here's one. Yeah.
It keeps that compact for sure. And you send a revision and you say, make sure you share this with all your decision makers and come up with a final list before you send over the last round.
Also, one thing that I like that you put in the contracts are if you're late, there's a 10%, fee or whatever tacked onto it. And even though, like, we've had people argue it and not pay the full fee and just be like, oh, they forgot to send it, blah, 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 and then accidentally CC us on and say, oh, yeah, can you send this right now?
Or at least express that, hey, if you're late, it's going to delay the project. We're not going to deliver by X amount of time.
Here's the thing, like, you can also use that as a bargaining chip or whatever.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, what we have done before is, like, we'll throw that 10% on, we'll email them the new invoice, and then they freak out and they're like, hey, why is this, what is this? And it's like, oh, it's in the contract, it's automatically added in there through our invoicing service. We'll take it off if you go ahead and pay that today.
And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem. I'll pay. I'll send it right now. Yeah.
Absolutely. Modern solutions.
Absolutely. The other thing that it does is it allows for control over the change order stuff, right? They come back and they want to add like 10 things that they did not talk about, or they want to, change the entire look of the whole thing the night before it's due, whatever it is, right? And you're like, well, first of all, that's not going to get done in, 2 hours. You're talking about starting from scratch, and that's going to take us X amount of time to do. Let me redo the contract and send it over. And then you redo the contract, you give them new numbers, you have to have them sign it again. And they're like, man, this is a lot of work to go through in order to make a change, you know? And I'm fine with paying more, but man, we got to sign a document with e-sign in order to make changes. Yeah. And so every time
in blood now.
Yeah. They're going to know that, like, if they're making huge changes like this, that they're going to have to go through some red tape to make it happen. They can't just email you and you're like, sure, okay, I'll do it for free, And all of this is just to protect yourself. It's not to be a dick, it's not to be a hard ass. It's not to have a big head about it. Like, oh, you're going with me. You only get 2 revisions because I'm the greatest,
And the funny part about that is all it takes in order to stop being perceived as a dick versus like, this is just the way it is to pick up the phone and call. Like, hey, this is what's going on. Let's just talk about this. You're going to miss the inflection that I'm trying to get across on an email.
Yes.
What's up? Let's talk about it. What's going on?
Email has
that
no
makes
emotion.
you a hero.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah, that's a big problem. I hate that. In text message, the number of times where I've misconstrued your anger through an email or a text message, and then I call you and you're like, oh, he's calm. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
My caps
per my
People
last
like
email.
myself are quick to jump, and quick to attack and quick to be defensive.
Yeah.
Business is black and white, but people aren't. So
just don't write to your client. Per my last email. That's like the worst thing you could say.
Yeah.
It's like the most passive aggressive. Kind of like, oh man. Yeah. Any other frame one things you want to talk about? Did we hit everything on that?
I think the most part of it.
Where can people find the podcast?
Frame1show.com. It's a live video version, so you can actually watch the show as it unfolds. I mean, not in real time. It's not live, like streamed, but actual video component, which is super nice. Otherwise, if you just want to listen to the audio, basically any of your favorite podcast downloadable networks, nice. Apple, iTunes, Podcast, Google, all the places. I know them so well.
All the good places.
All the good places.
Oh, I was also going to mention on the contract thing. I did a video on contracts years ago. If you, I think, Google my name and contracts, you might be able to find it. I'll try and Google it here in a second and see if I can dig it up. But what I did do is say, look, I'm not going to put my contract out there for people to download because, like, I just don't feel like that's the best thing to do. However, I did read the entire thing and go over it. And
so you could download it, load it into the new Premiere Pro or
Yes.
Descript, have it translate everything for you.
Yeah.
And then put that in.
Just put it in ChatGPT and have it write that into a contract. Take the transcript, put it into chat. Because here's the thing, like I said about it not holding up, like, really, if you don't want to take it to a lawyer, and if you take it for what it is and not for the actual legal part of it, but just to have something for your client to understand,
a framework for them to understand,
then just do it on your own, Yeah, let's talk about that transcription thing for a second, by the by. Can I just tell you, I have been editing in Descript using transcripts to edit, and it is freaking phenomenal. And I'm like, Adobe's going to do this, and they're putting in their podcasting stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is going to come to Premiere, and now it is coming to Premiere. And I'm telling you, like, when you're especially working with takes, and you have, like, a clip, and somebody says something 10, 15 times, and all you have to do is go read through it and find the one that you like and copy and paste, and then paste all the dialogue, and then it just edits it for you. That's the best. That is the best.
I haven't used Descript specifically. However, I have had some horror stories from some previous attempts at software like that, and I'm going to share one specifically. I was working on a national broadcast documentary about literally the world's best farmers, the world record holders for corn and soybeans, who were coming to Omaha, and they wanted to overhaul this farm and just make it like a leading producing place, basically. And we recorded just terabytes. I think we had 170 terabytes of footage when it was all said and done. It was 26 episodes released in 6 months. And we used the transcriptive was a specific plugin to actually try to do paper edits like that and actually do it by script. And all of the farmers were following Southern draws, just, weren't really speaking clearly. And so our transcriptive software would do things like, "You have really big corn. Thanks. I'd like to show you my ass now."
That's not what they were saying?
Yeah.
Behind the scenes secret, I can't tell you much more than
that. I will say that Descript is really good at it, and I think it's learning from everything else that it's ingesting from everybody's stuff, like, collectively. There's, like, a lot of AI involved. It can actually change the voice in some cases. Like, it can learn the voice and, like, change a word or something. But the way that I use it is in doing my TikTok series. I sat there and just recorded 12 TikToks and put everything in, and I just cut and paste, and you could see all the times that I said everything, and I put all the clips in order, at least. There's my whole transcript. You can see where I ran through, a take of something like 5 times. Delete it. Just read the transcript. The transcript's good, and you're 99% edited at that point. It even does things like take out the spaces. Because, TikTok, you can't have, like, a microsecond of space, or else, you lose engagement.
I hate trying to crack the algorithms like that.
It's just stepping on yourself, like if you watch my videos, you'll see, like, I'm literally stepping on my own words, because that's just how TikTok is. It's just like bam, 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 bam. As soon as a sentence finishes, you're already in the next sentence. You're jump cutting.
I will say I have greatly been enjoying your Zeta Art TikTok, like behind the scenes breakdowns, and it's been fun to watch.
Thanks. I got super busy, and the last one, the 12th one, I have not finished editing in like 3 weeks. So it's coming eventually.
The cliffhanger, everyone wants to know.
Yeah, the final scene, how it was put together. But that's a lot of work. Like, I did a huge TikTok push, and again, it comes back to, like, you can't hire somebody to do that for you. You can't hire somebody to stand in front of the camera and be you. You have to do that part, you know? You're probably going to want to write your own stuff. I actually use a program called Obsidian, which is just like a markdown writer. But I'm able to like categorize and just put all text for anything that I work on, for the website or for social or whatever it is in there. And I have all of it there. When I finish a script, I can have everything in order. It can link to other things or whatever. Then you can literally go and record your video. There's a ton of apps now that do this, that let you record your video on your iPhone. And, you know, people on TikTok or whatever, you're like, how do they know what to say? Like, how do they remember what to say? Like, how do they get through this without having to look at notes? All you have to do is get this software, and it will put your script like a teleprompter on the screen when you're recording. So you're looking at yourself recording, you know. You throw that into something like Descript. If I'm going to spend all this time trying to work on social, at least I'm going to make it fast, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to try and
absolutely.
optimize.
Yeah.
Record a ton of videos at once, bulk record, bulk edit, bulk everything. Like, that is going to be the biggest time saver. You know, me sitting down to edit this last one after I did all the other ones at once, I'm going to have some missteps. I'm going to forget what I did now, you know. But if you're working with...
That's a powerful workflow thing to automate, though, because when I'm doing videos of myself, you know, put up the camera and you're like, all right, I got to have this thing memorized in my head,
right?
Not verbatim, but like the bullet points where I want to go.
Of course.
And then just hope it comes out okay.
Yeah. And these things will read off of iCloud. So if you are saving your Markdown into iCloud, you can just open up your program on your phone and open up iCloud. It'll bring up the scripts, you know, that you had, and boom, it's on the screen. Now, if you want to save time, if you are going to delegate, you can get somebody to write it. You can get somebody to edit it, but you're still going to have to record it. But if you do have kind of this system and you have somebody you can work with or delegate to, you can say, hey, I need you to write me 12 TikToks based on this thing, and I'll record them one day. And then you record them all, and then they can do it for you. Now, I'm not to that point yet. I can't afford that. But that is one way that you could, because again, it's, oh, well, I have to do all of that. Yeah. Maybe you do, but you know, at least if you would have to record it, but you wouldn't have to do the other stuff, you know.
Right. And I imagine if you have something like Obsidian where you're actually able to read the scripts, your edits that someone has to do are substantially reduced. You're not looking for the right, you know, you're reading a script as opposed to like, oh man, I'm winging this. What am I talking about? So hopefully your time invested is less. So therefore, hopefully your financial investment is smaller as well.
And I put everything in there too, as far as like transitions and things. Like some of these TikToks, I'm on a tripod, you know. Some of these I'm doing more like the effects where you're going back and forth between a scene. So you'll have the phone in your hand and you'll whip off and then you'll whip back on. You know, all those instructions are written in the script. All of that is thought about ahead of time. What stickers I'm going to put on in the end, you know, all of that. So I'm reading through, I'm reading the script. Oh, this scene I did this thing with wind dynamics. Flip and move the camera with my hand. And if you have it kind of lined up like that, it works really well. You can go fast. There's some other point I was going to make on it, but I lost it. But you could do bullet points. You know,
that's super helpful. Yeah. I need to look into that. The other the last interview of Frame One, I sat down with a former studio owner, and he had made the comment that his biggest regret of his studio was not documenting the steps he took from growing this thing from a random idea to a finished product. And so he suggested that Courtney and I start putting together a podcast of just, hey, it's Friday. This is what we learned this week. This is a business lesson, this is a creative lesson, this is a process lesson, whatever else. And, it becomes a well-rounded content machine you can share with people, or you just look back in 10 years and go, wow, we didn't know anything back then.
Yeah.
Oh, man, if I could
so
go
I'm
back.
looking at, I'd like to start something similar with that with Frame One for hyper focus. Whether I put the two together or not, or we keep them separate, I don't know yet. But that might be something that we utilize Obsidian for. Take a look at that.
Sometimes I wish I could go back like 20 years ago when I had a video production company and just tell myself all of these lessons.
Man, the amount of time that I wasted at I was thinking about it today. The amount of time that I wasted at that first post house making next to nothing, because I was the number one in charge there, and whatever. It was, man, I should not have stayed there so long.
Having people like me come into your place. We were trying to figure out today
No, not
if we
there.
had seen
Oh,
each
yeah,
other.
yeah. I guarantee we had at some point.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. I had to get 3/4-inch U-matic transferred at one point in my life. The decks are too expensive.
Yeah. Got to get them on eBay.
Yeah. I have an old beta deck sitting in storage if anybody needs one.
I had one that I bought off of eBay for like $250 in hopes that I could do like some dub jobs or whatever. Never panned out. I ended up throwing it in the trash after never using it once.
Gosh.
You should hang on to that, because you never know. It'd be like a CRT monitor, come back and it's going to be a gold mine.
I have one in storage.
Right.
Yeah.
I got my CRT right here.
2,500 is what I paid for my Betacam SP deck in like 04. And it was like Sony certified, refurbed, and then it had a problem and I had to spend $500. But it was original MSRP $80,000.
Right.
And after that I barely used it, and it's in storage.
Yeah.
Probably works though. Probably. So if anyone needs it, let me know.
Boom. Now
It
we know.
weighs like 100 pounds.
Oh, they're
shipping will be
so
great.
heavy.
Yeah.
Local pickup only.
Do y'all have any gear sitting around that like you still have after all these years, like old stuff?
I don't know. A lot of my gear, I only started really acquiring gear once I started having money, which has only been in the past probably 5 or 6 years, right? So most of my gear is new. I do have an old light kit that is actually like halogen lights, so they're really freaking hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Is that
about
the
it.
same one? Do you have that one now? I don't remember.
Yep.
It was in my garage at one point.
Yeah,
That
it's
thing
the
was
same one.
Friggin' beast, man.
It was, yeah.
The old ones from college that'll burn you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still have
Gotta
a bunch
make sure
of
you're
DJ
wearing
gear
gloves,
floating around.
otherwise you'll get burned.
Ooh, yeah, been there. I've lost fingerprints. Not fun.
Yep.
No, I just have a bunch of DJ gear floating around, like nice speakers and like dance lights and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That I'm likely never to use again. But I'm like,
Yeah.
outdoor home movie theater system, or backyard dance party over the hot tub.
See,
or...
I've got an old PA. I've got an old PA that I had for a while. I think I bought it for like $100,
Nice.
off of my old boss that I buy all the old equipment from,
Yep.
And we used it for DFW C4D,
Mm-hmm.
And so like I've just got that sitting there. I'll probably bring that to camp this year.
Nice.
Jam out.
Actually, I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that. If you guys need a PA, let me know, because I've got some stuff that'll be
Yeah.
perfect for you.
I'm gonna drive to camp this year.
I think I will too.
It's only a 12-hour drive. It's not too bad, you know. So I may just drive up there, bring some fun
I thought
stuff.
about driving my little blue like MR2, and then I realized that 13 hours in a car that's dubbed the Barbie car would probably not be ideal.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking my Jeep, so it's gonna be those things aren't fun on long road trips.
Drums.
Maybe
and
we'll
guitars
suffer
hanging out the
together.
window.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to practice.
We'll just-
I told Julie I have to practice my bass now so I can play.
Right.
Ooh,
Yeah.
so is that happening? Is there going to be a live band?
I don't think so. I don't know. That is less likely, but I am for sure going to bring my electronic drum set, my bass guitar, and a couple of regular guitars, and then some microphones and I'm going to basically bring everything you would need in order for people to just jam together.
We're just going to have a live session during the fireside chat.
Yeah, music. I don't know about during the fireside chat.
I got my bass that Johnny Cash's guitar player helped me pick out up in Canada.
That's cool.
Johnny Cash isn't the guitar player?
Well, he is a guitar player, but he had a band.
Right.
Yeah. He was in his band all those years. He was a guitar player. He was married to Waylon Jennings' daughter. He helped me pick this thing out. He owned a trucking company though, so he put it in his truck and took it over the border so that I didn't have to
Funny.
pay anything. I still have it
really
sitting
funny.
here gathering dust, but
That's
yeah,
awesome. That's
Yeah.
a cool story.
I
That's
got all sorts of gear, man. I got DVX 100A. I've got an HVX 200. I've got like 2 of those old school like dual G4 towers and.
I still
G5
do have
towers and-
my G5.
Yeah.
I've got that.
Or
Actually,
not
it's
a G5.
It's an Intel.
It's a Mac Pro.
It's a Mac Pro with an
Yeah.
Intel. It's still, it could probably still
Works.
kill some After Effects.
Dude, that
you
thing
know?
hung in there. That thing lasted me like 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
It's funny. I'm actually looking for like an old Canon C100 right now because they're cheap.
Oh.
They hold up. They look good.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah. I forgot about the C100. Jeez.
Yeah. And rather than spending, $5, 6, 7 grand for like an FX3 or 6 or whatever else, I'm going to get pretty decent image quality. Give up the 4K, but
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Get
that's the
yourself
only
an
thing.
XL1.
An
Yeah.
XL1.
Yeah.
The XL1, they couldn't even afford to pay for color bars.
Oh, geez.
Is that true?
Remember that?
No, they'd had color bars on it.
Well, technically they did. They had full frame bars. If you held down a couple buttons while you turned it on, you could get full frame bars. But they didn't pay the
Really?
license to have like SMPTE bars or something.
Oh,
so they
it
didn't have
was just
SMPTE
like
bars.
a color.
Just straight bars.
Yeah,
without the stuff on the
okay,
bottom.
they did have that. Yeah.
The XL2
Yeah.
had color bars, real
Yeah.
color bars.
So stupid.
So you could sync. That's back when my teacher was teaching vector, waveform and vector scope and how to calibrate cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you didn't have a good way to calibrate it or it's too far off, you would just run the signal through a whole bunch of BNC cable, so it would cause resistance. And yeah,
That's
those
funny.
were the days.
Dude, Dave and I went to UTD, because that's where we're looking at doing the Dallas leg of the tour,
Okay.
and we got to meet one of the guys dude, UTD is crazy cool. Like,
Yeah,
I'm really
really
mad
cool.
that they didn't have this stuff when I was there.
I was telling my daughter about it. I was like,
They
"You
don't
would
even
like
have
this
my
place."
program anymore. That's why I said earlier. I said, "Is that program still around?" But the we went into this one room, and one of the guys there, the instructor, was just like doing experimental shit, like running loops and like stuff
Analog.
of like old VHS signals into CRTs and stuff, and it was so cool.
You know the
And,
guy
like,
in UHF?
Weird Al.
Not Weird Al, but no, the guy who ran the station, and he was like the mad scientist guy. It was like that.
It was so cool. It was so cool, and I got so incredibly jealous that he got paid just
screw
to make
around.
weird stuff all day and like
Yeah.
these live video installations and stuff. So I've got an old like handheld camcorder, VHS camcorder, that I'm gonna try and hook up and do a live show with. That's gonna be my
really
my
repping
webcam.
the 2000s technology over there.
That's
Oh
great.
man, earlier
CRT.
than that, man. This is like 1980s technology. Cause
Okay,
like,
oh, yeah.
dude, it was my grandparents' like camcorder. It was the reason I own it, and like I begged my family for it when my grandparents died. I said this needs to go to me because this is the whole reason I'm in video production in the first place. You know, so
That's
I got
cool.
that camcorder.
That's so cool.
Here's the
I would love
guy.
to
You
hook
remember
that
this
up.
guy, right?
Secrets of the I don't remember that.
You don't
I've
remember
seen
that.
UHF once.
Oh,
It
that's
was a
I
million
will put it on
years ago.
my to watch this weekend.
Oh, I've seen it many times.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this guy would just experiment in there. Yeah, they had the old camcorder. They also had, remember that Sony that everybody had for a while, the Sony Mini DV camcorder?
I believe
Everybody had it. Yeah. Yeah, like not the like consumer one, but the more like prosumer one that came out, you know, and it took like mini DVC Pro tapes or whatever they were called. Yeah, I don't remember. Hey, let's do the thing called MoGraph Recommends, because we didn't do that with you last time.
We did not.
We're already, man, time is flying.
Yeah.
We got to wrap up. We got clients to get to. All of us. So you know the drill on this. You know how this works. You've done it before. You've seen it. So we'll start with your favorite movie.
Favorite movie? I would have to give that up to animated being Klaus. That is a every single year.
The Christmas one that came out a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, Netflix only. We canceled our Netflix this year, and it was the first year I didn't watch it. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
It's so good. So good.
Dude, have y'all seen the Netflix Matilda the musical?
No, I have not.
It is so good. Like the music is amazing.
Good,
the dancing is so good. It's beautifully done. You know.
Is it based off of like the 1980s or 90s Matilda, or is it?
Well, it's based off. Both of those are based off the Roald Dahl book. You know, Matilda.
Got it. Okay.
But
it is the Sony VX1000. Sorry to interrupt.
All right. Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
this
man.
important update brought to you by
The
Aaron.
Handycam. Look at this thing. Is it still $1,200?
There's no way.
Hey man, when you
It
got
could be.
you got a good product.
Look on eBay.
Wow.
Here.
Okay.
eBay. What is it? The Sony
The
what?
VX1000.
VX1000.
Oh man, if you had this, because it was 3 CCD. Y'all don't even know.
Ooh. Oh man, I remember that.
3 CCD.
Let's see, $200. You can buy it now for $617.
Maybe that one was
Near
brand new.
mint.
Near mint. I see that. I see the same one. 617.49.
I'm kind of
people
surprised
wanna-
camcorders aren't still a prominent thing in today's world, even with DSLRs.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, certain things, it's funny because I've noticed this after buying like a shit ton of like video games, old like classic video games. It's like there is a certain threshold in which they will never go less than, you know? And so like this camcorder, $200, $300, you know, that's about what it'll go down to. Some of these video games that I've bought are the same price that they were when they were released.
Oh yeah, that's like
It's crazy.
N64 Smash Brothers. I want to buy that one, but it's still $50.
Yeah,
You know?
dude. Mario RPG, you know, it's $120 on eBay. Yeah, I got the Japanese version. It's only $10.
You've
But
probably
I don't-
seen.
I
Sorry.
can't read Japanese.
You've probably seen some of these TikToks I think we've sent back and forth where people are like sending analog stuff, or they're doing stuff in After Effects and then throw it back through a CRT or something, you know, or videotape, you know, through like an old MX50 or Panasonic MX50 or MX12. And it's so funny to me, like they're doing stuff looping back on the screen, infinity, all that, and I'm like, man, I did that in first grade, and I think a lot of it is because like these people have never done it before, and they're just discovering this because they're younger, and I'm like, I have been there. You could not pay me to touch that stuff again, and here's people doing it for fun because they've never seen it, and it's like, man, I played with this as a kid, and I do not want to go back to it. I'm sorry.
I think that means you're getting old.
Yeah. Freaking
Sorry.
RGB cables, component cables, getting them all plugged in wrong. Everything's the wrong color. Plugging in audio to video by accident. Coaxial
Having to find your
cables.
adapters.
Yeah, screw that. No. BNC adapters. Termination. Ugh. Matt knows about Termination. He's been putting
Oh my
Terminators
gosh.
on his
I was so
video
mad.
games.
Like, so I'm playing. Yeah. So I bought this CRT. I bought this old, PVM CRT for $350 in render credits at 40 cents. It has now since quadrupled. It's up to like almost $2 now. Anyway, he sold it once it doubled. But anyway, so I bought this. And like I hooked up my NES system. It was actually my wife's NES system whenever she was growing up, and they never played it, so it's in mint condition, right? And so I plug it in, and I'm like, man, were the colors really this bad? I thought I remembered CRT colors being like super vibrant and stuff. Turns out, like, you have to have terminators on the end of them because it cycles through. If you don't have terminators, then like it gets all washed out and stuff. Dude, as soon as I hooked that up, like I started going into this like crazy rabbit hole of like modding your Nintendo system so that you can pull pure RGB channels out of it. And it's like, no, I just needed a Terminator at the end. Now it looks great, and I'm not going to mess with it anymore.
I plugged something through the loop through, and then it looks fine. I'm like, I think you're not terminated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of those monitors actually had a termination switch that would cut it off, the 75 ohm switch.
And this one may. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Anyway. So. Where were we?
TV show.
TV show.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't prepare that one. Son of a buck.
I mean, what you been watching? What's good?
I've been working. I haven't really been watching TV lately. Actually, Aaron and I, my wife and I, we watched The Last Man on Earth a lot with Tandy and whoever else they are. That's a good comedy throwback.
Last Man on Earth.
Good.
Is that the one? Oh wait.
It's like the pandemic wipes out the entire population.
Okay,
like,
that's
like 10 people.
that's shoot, what's his name?
Yeah.
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett.
No, not Will Arnett.
No, Will
Forte.
Will Forte.
Oh,
that sounds about right.
I love Will Forte.
Yeah,
he
but
is one of my favorites.
Here's the problem. You know how Michael Scott can be super cringe to the point where sometimes you can't even watch it? Will Forte, to me, in this role is like 100 times as cringy.
100%.
It's very hard to watch sometimes.
If I will preface that with saying that if that's not on in our house, The Office is. Like, it's playing somewhere in our house, almost on loop. It's kind of funny. In fact, yesterday I cut my beard off for the first time in like 6 months. And I sat down and I was like, I just did this half. My wife's computer sits over here on this side. And so I just sat down and just went back to work, didn't say anything. She's playing Sims. And she made a comment and I'm just like, what are you talking about? And I look over and she's just like, no, get out of the house. But that is one of my favorite things to do is grow a beard, do something really stupid with it, just to drive her nuts.
Is that a life? Is that your life hack?
Oh, that's so much fun. It's so much fun. It could be. It could be.
Yeah, there you go. You got your life hack in.
We do a drinking festival every year called Bachfest, which is basically we just go drink outside in snowbanks at 10 degrees. And every year we dress up in the most outrageous costumes we can come up with. And one year we dressed up as women, just old ladies, like church ladies. And I had a big burly, I think it was like the guy with the Camp Mograph beard. It was just huge. And I shaved it all off with the exception of mutton chops and then fluffed them out. So like I'm walking around, it's like touching my shoulders.
That's funny.
What was this thing called? Bachfest?
Called Bachfest in
Bachfest.
New Ulm, Minnesota.
I thought it was like a chicken thing.
Goats.
That's funny.
Goats.
Bachfest.
Yeah. So
music.
I am a big indie rock or punk rock person. But I do the whole gamut, top 40s, rock, rap, you name it. But lately, I've been listening to a lot of Tenacious D on loop, repeat.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that. But pretty much anything punk rock.
All right.
What's your favorite punk rock band?
Favorite punk rock band? I like Anti-Flag a lot.
Okay.
They're kind of a little bit of a political, anti-political band. They're pretty awesome.
Propaganda.
I'm not familiar.
Rage.
Oh, dude. Propaganda.
Look it up.
Propaganda's good. Good stuff.
I'll look it up. Send it my way.
More Rock. That's a great album. How to Clean Everything. Oh, amazing. Incredible. Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
Podcast.
No, you're good. Podcast. Haunt Weekly is one I really, really like. It is a Halloween
Oh.
attraction haunted house.
You're big haunted
I'm
house
big.
person. Yeah.
I'm big. If
What
I could
is
start
it
my own, like,
about haunted houses that attracts you? You
Is
know?
it the murder? It's the murder, isn't it?
I think it's the theater of it, because it's just you're literally paid to make people jump, and it's awesome.
You like working in them or going to
I
them?
love it. I enjoy attending them. I'll like every year I want to go to like a big haunt, either in Chicago or Salt Lake, kind of like do a tour and find a big one every year. But I definitely prefer working in them more, because you can, really play with like your environment, or like your character, or like the lighting has to do a certain thing, or how are you going to like just interact with the crowd. And it's really just a different type of acting, and it's just a lot lot of fun. So
Yeah.
if
Plus,
I could
anytime you
open
scare
my
the
own,
pants off of someone,
dude, it's so
like,
much fun.
It's the like that dopamine hit that happens when you know you're doing a good job because they're scared.
Absolutely. And I don't know, if I could open my own house, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But I don't have enough me left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to delegate that one.
I have to
Right.
delegate that one out.
Yeah. Plug in, not a render engine.
I really like joysticks and sliders. That's a pretty potent one.
That one's a good one.
good.
You're gonna laugh at this, but the one that I use literally every single day is Animation Composer's, not the actual composer itself, but they have a side plugin called Anchor Point Mover. It just
Oh,
moves
yeah.
anchor points.
Oh,
That's all
yep.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it is my favorite version of Anchor Point Mover I found amongst all the plugins.
Yeah.
And it's
Where
free.
it will just center whatever you have like masked out
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
I use
that's
it
the best.
All the time.
Yeah. Like a shape, you do a shape. That's the worst. Like, come on now. Shapes need to auto center in After Effects. Can we have that? You make one shape and the center is still the middle of the screen and not the center of the shape.
Why not
Yep.
just
Come on.
hold down Y and turn on snapping?
Because that takes more time. Just push a
Okay.
button.
All right.
Well, just anything, even a mask, or whatever it is. And it doesn't move it. That's the thing. Like, you could do it yourself. It's just like you're moving the anchor and then you got to reposition, or whatever. But anyway.
As far as a quick time saver, it is
Yeah.
second to none.
Yeah. App. Muscle memory go-to app on your phone. Where are you at?
This
these
is so
days?
stupid, but it's LinkedIn. Like the first thing I do, open up LinkedIn in the morning. Like, all right, who's doing what?
I
good.
don't mind. Here's the thing. I actually don't mind LinkedIn. I hate LinkedIn less than I do Facebook. Facebook
Yeah.
has become so political and like boring, and no one uses it, and it's filled with ads.
It's not even
right?
political anymore. Everybody gave up.
There's just ads everywhere. Like every other thing is an ad, and I'll get 2 or 3 ads in a row. I don't see any ads on LinkedIn. Like not on the
I think they're on the
timeline,
side.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's just a giant circle jerk.
That's
is what
also
LinkedIn is
because
you know?
they're throwing people in your feed that you are not subscribed to, that are paid people to throw in their posts into your feed. That's kind of how they work that. Yeah. Facebook now, I've seen a couple TikToks on this. Facebook now is just to remind you when people's birthdays are and show you what weird thing you were doing 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a time
Hey,
machine.
see, it's funny
Time
because
capsule.
I went through
Yeah.
and I hid every single. I went on this. I was like, okay, maybe Facebook just isn't working the way that I need it to work because I don't accept any of my friends. I had like 150 people in limbo. So I got on this kick. I said, all right, I'm going to go ahead and hide all my old pictures. No one can find them. I want them to only be seen by me. I don't have any pictures other than what people have tagged me in. I don't need embarrassment in my life. And then I just started accepting everyone. And now I actually friend request people as well. And you know what it did to my timeline? Jack shit. It is still awful. It is still terrible.
Yeah.
I used to be so addicted to Facebook where I check it like 20 times an hour. And I can't do it anymore.
Like,
I'm like
Facebook, I don't have the app. I have to physically type it into my Safari on my phone. And it is literally a last resort of I have looked through everything. You know?
Yeah.
Let's see if there's anything fun on Facebook.
Yeah. I hop on there once. I'm a volunteer firefighter, and once in a while, my wife
you
will say,
are.
"Oh, hey, they posted about your fire you went to, or they posted about this." I'm like, "Oh, I better go look at the pictures real quick." But
What's
outside
it like
of that, like
fighting fires? Like, do you actually like full on fight fires?
yeah, I'm still new. I'm only been on the department for 5 months at this point, and I've been involved in 3 fires. Where like you're on the hose and like fighting the fire and that kind of stuff.
Wow.
We were on Discord last night, and we were chatting, and all of a sudden he's like, "Got a fire, gotta go," and he just like hangs up.
Really?
Yeah. Last night was a 1-car rollover. Lady was drinking and driving, and don't do that. So it was just go up there, make sure everything was okay, get her out, get the ambulance there, that kind of stuff.
Can't drink and drive.
So, surprise! Not a great idea.
What is this, Nazi Germany?
Oh my gosh!
Did you see that South Park episode?
I
was just
did,
watching that last night. Oh man. All right. The next one is video game. Well, I think I'm gonna know the answer to this one.
Maybe. If I feel like I say anything but Halo, I'm in trouble.
No, Halo's not my favorite video game.
No, definitely my favorite franchise to follow. But I'm always gonna have a sweet spot for Super Mario Brothers or Smash Brothers. 64. It's got to be 64 though.
64. Okay. Yeah. Smash Brothers Melee was probably it was my
Wii,
favorite. Right? That one was the GameCube.
GameCube, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
The
Never had a
the
GameCube.
Wii was Brawl, I believe.
That's what
Brawl
it was.
Sucked. Brawl sucked.
Yeah.
But the newest one, I really like the newest one. You know,
On
for the Switch and stuff like that. There's so many characters. So many characters. Yeah.
I really want to buy a Switch specifically for that Mario Kart.
If you do, get the OLED one. The OLED.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's so good.
Sounds like a life hack to me.
Yeah.
And that's apparently where you're supposed to get the new old Bond, the 007.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been released. I haven't played it yet. I've been on a classic SNES because I just got my SNES. My classic SNES, as well as I've been playing Stardew Valley, and I am hooked. And I am the worst Stardew Valley person ever. I'm already on year 2. I haven't done anything they've asked me to do. I'm just farming. I'm just trying to make $1 million farming and setting up sprinklers.
Are you farming DEW or DOO? Stardew.
Neither. Oh, jeez. Yes.
That's why I played RuneScape. I was just like, I'm gonna catch lobsters. Good old RuneScape.
That's funny.
Well,
yeah, I haven't even explored the whole island. Yesterday, I was already on year 2, which is probably 4 days of playing, and I went south in my land, and there was a whole nother area. I was like, where was this? I didn't even know. And there's apparently farm animals that you can raise. I was like, I didn't know about this.
What kind of farmer are you? Come on.
I'm so lost. I don't.
It's like Farmville. It's like Farmville, but there's a million other things you can do with it. Yeah. Anyway.
Love it.
Now, do you have another life hack, or was that your life hack? Are you good on the life hack?
The life hack I was thinking of, because I was prepping beforehand, was when stressed, just breathe. Just remember that it's just marketing. It's just marketing. We're not saving lives. It's fine.
Yeah, we're not.
If you're stressed out, just breathe. Just marketing.
I mean, you are on the side, technically.
Part-time
volunteer. But other than that,
oh gosh. My brother-in-law just sent me a I think you should leave soundboard. Have y'all seen I Think You Should Leave on Netflix?
I've seen clips that you have sent me.
It is the funniest show you'll ever see in your life. Is
that the one with the hot dog car that hits the building? Okay, yeah.
Hot dog, random. Anyway, it's so funny. So I just keep
and
on
the bones thing.
The bones, yeah, the bones are
bones.
their money.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
I was wearing that shirt yesterday.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I reckon we have to get back to our clients.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else we want to talk about?
We talked about a lot today. We talked
We
about
did.
business, talked
Yeah.
about Frame One,
Yeah.
haunted houses, whole 9 yards, everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll see you in a
Cool.
couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're in-
I'll be down. I'll be down.
you're in
I'll
D-town?
drive down there, bring you guys some steaks and some roasts.
Cool.
Grill it all up. Absolutely.
Steak?
Steak.
Yes.
It'll be good.
Beer.
Well, everybody, rate us on iTunes. Leave a little review for us. I have not looked at our review page in a long time. Remember, we used to have like contests for shirts if people could like leave
Yeah.
a review or something.
Yeah.
But,
I don't think anyone does review us on
I
on
don't know.
I
That's
look
where our audience
occasionally
is. That's the
anytime
funny
you
thing.
mention something about it,
Yeah.
and I don't think anyone actually reviews us, which is fine, whatever.
Because nobody ever listens to the end. They shut it off.
Right?
Right.
They're like, oh,
We
this
should
is
say
the
it at the
end.
beginning, right?
Yeah.
Leave a review, subscribe on your podcatcher of choice, helps get our ratings up. You can say you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with the MoGraph logo tee, the Paul Babb, Feel the Babb 2020 shirt, classic. Make sure you get one of those so you can wear it when you show up, for the tour, Render Things t-shirt. Oh, all the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders, by the way. Render Things t-shirt, hoodie, and long sleeve tee, the MoGraph management shirt. That Render is Fire shirt, which you're only allowed to wear, ironically,
Unless
you're
Unless you're
shams.
shams.
Yes.
Dude, 7 years. We've been doing this for 7 freaking years.
Yeah.
We
About
got-
to be.
Next week it becomes
Still
full
a
circle.
5-star, by
Full
the way.
circle.
Still 5-star.
Except that one person that gave us 4 that one time.
Nope, it's still 5 of 5. 5.0
Ooh,
of 5.
Averages. Averages.
The law of averages.
The last one was 3 years ago.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's where our audience though is all on iTunes
Podcast.
and podcast, Spotify, all of that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. The stuff that we have on YouTube, that's basically only the people who want to watch a hour and a half broadcast of Talking Heads live on YouTube. So I imagine most people listen to this in their car. But yeah, that's it. We're on YouTube, MoGraph.com, MoGraph.com/live. You can get information about the live show, who's coming up and whatnot, and MoGraph.com/TV, where you can watch MoGraph TV. Turn it on, rip the knob off,
Yep.
and things like that. Drysen, if people want to find you on the interwebs to talk to you or hang out, what do they need to do?
Frame1show.com is definitely the best place to look. Otherwise, I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram at Drysen Carsten.
Awesome.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I guess that's it. I guess we're going to get out of here, huh?
Yep.
This
All
was
right.
fun. Thank you.
All right. Let's go back to work. How about that?
I don't want to. I'm going to get a beer. That's what I'm going to do.
Yes. Sounds good. Now, until next time, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Drysen.
Have a good one.
Later, yo.
So was my audio good that entire time?
It was
Yeah,
good.
Blowing out.
Yeah, I fixed
Wow.
it.
A restart mattered.
Stand by. Let me take this off the air here.
Yeah, if you guys want me to bring a bunch